So, what if I told you that one of the most influential religious leaders of the 20th century believed that the true path of faith was, well, supposed to be miserable? We're going to dive into a really fiery 1977 sermon by Sun Myung Moon, the founder of the Unifications Church, where he just lays out this radical vision for what true conviction really demands.
Right out of the gate, Moon asks a question that just cuts through everything, a question he puts directly to his followers. Is a religious life actually supposed to be fun? Now, before we get to his answer, just think about that for a second. What would you expect a spiritual leader to say to that?
And yeah, his response is anything but typical. He says, "Are you anxious to know my true answer? It is the same as yours. Definitely no." I mean, wow. That is a stunning way to start, right? And it totally sets the stage for everything he's about to argue.
Okay, so if it's not fun, then why even bother? And that brings us to Moon's whole foundational point, the entire premise of why religion is necessary in the first place.
See, according to this sermon, religion isn't some cozy source of comfort or the end goal itself. Moon calls it a temporary tool which God is using to recreate man. A tool. It's not the destination. Its whole purpose is to fix something that's broken. And that something broken is humanity itself, after what he calls the fall of man. So because of that, the religious path is inherently difficult. It's a peculiar life, as he puts it, packed with hardship and tribulation, because you're constantly fighting against your own fallen nature. It's a struggle, not a peaceful retreat.
So from that individual struggle, Moon then zooms way out to diagnose what he sees as a world in a deep, deep crisis. He frames this whole crisis as this huge clash between two completely different ways of life. On one side, you've got the secular world, which he describes as totally impulsive, obsessed with carnal pleasure, and having zero discipline. And on the other side, you have the religious life, which is all about guided action and disciplined thought. You know, a pretty stark contrast. And this slide right here gets to the absolute core of the problem he identifies, this massive imbalance. Humanity's external world, our technology, our science, it's just rocketing forward at an incredible speed. But our spiritual world, Moon argues it's basically stuck in an underdeveloped country, totally unprepared to handle the modern world it created. So the big question is, why aren't the existing religions fixing this? Well, according to Moon, they've failed. He says they're trapped by ancient traditions, they're enslaved by formalities, and their thinking is just way too small to deal with modern problems. And maybe most importantly, he says they're failing to convince modern people that God even exists.
Okay, so if the old ways are broken, what's the solution? This brings us to what Moon proposes, the rise of a brand new, universal religion. He lays out this prophecy that a new movement is going to emerge, and it's going to have these very specific traits. It'll have a universal ideology, something that can totally capture the attention of young people, unite generations, and then channel all that idealism toward this big goal of world brotherhood. And then comes the pivotal moment of the entire sermon. After building up this whole case, he declares to his followers, that very movement has now come into being, and it is you, the Unification Church. I mean, what a direct, powerful claim, positioning his own movement as the one and only answer to the world's crisis. But here's the thing. It's not enough to just be this new movement. You have to do something. And that is the method Moon lays out, turning your conviction into bold, undeniable action. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Moon presents this really clear four-step path. It all starts with conviction, sure, but that's just the launch pad. From there, you have to be adventurous, you have to be courageous, you have to translate that conviction into 100% action. And ultimately, you've got to be willing to risk your life. God, he argues, chooses the people who act, not the ones who just sit around thinking. And to really hammer this point home, he uses a series of these incredibly vivid metaphors. The first one, don't even try to bash your way through an obstacle. Instead, you need to generate so much energy and conviction that you can just fly right over it. You leap forward. Next up, he compares his followers to a brake lining. The world is a car that's just speeding out of control. Your job is to be the friction that stops it, even if that means getting burned and bruised in the process. It's a call for some serious sacrificial action.
And finally, he tells them to be like a guided missile. When the order is given, you launch without any fear, flying directly and unstoppably right toward the target. It's this call for absolute focus and just unstoppable momentum.
So all of these powerful metaphors, they're all pointing to the exact same conclusion. The price of actually doing God's will and changing the world is incredibly, incredibly high.
Moon really captures this defiant spirit with this unforgettable image of himself. He says his critics expected all the persecutions to break him, to make him look bent over like a shrimp. But he declares, this shrimp has wings, and instead of sagging down, I am flying upward. What a statement of just pure defiant strength.
So the ultimate takeaway from all this is simple. The path he's describing isn't about avoiding hardship, it's about embracing it. It's about actually welcoming challenges and using all that negative pressure as fuel, a stimulus for excellence, as he calls it. And he leaves his followers, and, us, with this final, really penetrating question. He claims the blessing you receive is directly proportional to how bold your action is. And then he asks, can you do it? It's a challenge that forces you to think not just about what you believe, but what you are truly willing to do about it.